Hey guys, Tapas here for Iwi Sleep, aka Tdap. You may not want other vaccines than you, but you want me. I've been having a really hard time recently. Have you guys ever felt this way? Where, trying to find peace and purpose in life? And, I've been reading this book. It's called Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. You guys probably heard of him. The book is really insightful, but I feel like I need some more clarification. So I'm in this super secret place where I heard this guru is visiting. I think her name is Guru Kal. Anyways, I want you guys to come along for the ride. Come with me, come on.
I offer praise unto the all-pervading divinity present within every heart, who is the embodiment of beauty, intelligence, strength, wealth.
Must be Guru Kal.
Oh, yes, welcome.
Hi, my name is Tapas. I am so inspired by you and what you've taught us, and I brought some friends with me today, so hope you don't mind, but I would love to sit in.
Of course, you are all welcome.
Okay, cool. So I'm super impressed by what you've done, Guru Kal. Can I call you GK? I'll call you GK. There's so many teachings that you've given, and I'm kind of at the point in my life where I'm kind of lost. I don't know what I need to do. Do you guys kind of feel that way? Like, I went to pharmacy school and got a doctorate and got a really high paying job, but then I quit because something just didn't feel right at my job, and then I don't know, I always feel like I let my parents down. They have high expectations. I have friends who are also kind of talking behind my back. I also have my best friend Cal, who's always making fun of me because I wear blue and black. I mean, I guess it's normal, but how do I find peace, Guru Kal?
I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what you think I am.
I'm sorry, what? You are who I am who? What?
We live in a world of constant judgment, especially of our own selves. Our identity is wrapped up in what others think of us, but more accurately, what we think others think of us. It's impossible to recognize who we are and what makes us happy when we're chasing the distorted reflection of someone else's dream.
Oh, okay, so you're already starting with the guru stuff already. Okay, so give me a sec to think about this. Okay, so we live in a perception of ourselves. I can see why I'm kind of feeling lost about what others think of me.
The first lesson I will share.
Oh, cool. Guys, shh.
The first lesson is this. When you try to live your most authentic life, some of your relationships will be put in jeopardy. Losing them is a risk worth bearing, and finding a way to keep them in your life is a challenge worth taking on.
Oh, that's fine. I don't have any friends, GK. Oh, except for you guys. Cool, BFS.
To begin our journey, we must clear away distractions. Let's look at the external forces that shape us and distract us from our values. Then we'll look at the values that currently shape us and reflect on whether or not they are in line with who we want to be and how we want to live.
Oh, I think I'm solid in my values. I get that from my parents.
That's wonderful. Consider also, values are influenced by whatever absorbs our minds. We are not our minds, but the mind is what decides what's important in our hearts. Our mind can be influenced by our education, social media, family, friends, strangers even. And the good news is, when we tune out the opinions, expectations, and obligations of the world around us, we begin to hear ourselves. The not so good news is, most of us don't sit around and think about our values. We don't think about, being with our own thoughts, and our inclination is really to avoid silence, try to fill our heads and then keep moving. But when we are preoccupied, we can't address our thoughts and explore our minds.
Okay, I'm sure I can do that. So be still, sit in my thoughts, make space for reflection. Okay, maybe I can't do it. Can you guys do it? I can't do it. And I have a million thoughts going in my head, and also my butt's kind of numb. Are you guys feeling numb? My butt's kind of sore, huh?
I have 3 suggestions for you, Tapas and friends. First, make it a daily routine to sit down to reflect on how your day went and what emotions you feel. You might have to try this for a few days before you can get used to it. Second, once a month, go someplace you've never been before to explore yourself in a different environment. And third, get involved in something that's meaningful to you, a hobby, a charity, or a political cause. You'll find that you may learn a few things about yourself and your true values. After all, you may think you know what your values are. However, your actions tell the real story. What we do in our spare time shows what we truly value.
Okay, so sit daily and reflect, go someplace new once a month, get involved in a charity. Got it. Okay, so are there bad values? Like, do we get bonus points for having good values? Not that I'm trying to win or anything.
That is a great question. There are actually higher values and lower values. Higher values propel and elevate us towards happiness, fulfillment, and meaning. These are values like fearlessness, purity, gratitude, service and charity, acceptance, nonviolence, just to name a few. And then there are lower values which demote us towards anxiety, depression, and suffering. These are greed, lust, anger, ego, illusion, and envy.
So if someone has lower values, I don't, but let's say maybe somebody over there does, how do we just change it to good values?
You're not expected to. The key is to let go of the false values that fill the space in your life.
Oh, like Marie Kondo, purge what doesn't give you joy.
That's actually accurate. Letting go is the direct route to space and stillness. And when you give yourself space and stillness, you can clear the dust and see yourself, not through the eyes of others, but from within. Identify your values and letting them guide you will help you filter external influences.
You know what else is an external influence? I'm picking up so much negativity recently. It's everywhere. It's probably why I left my job. Like there's a victim mentality, selfish behaviors, and it was kind of contagious, you know? So I couldn't help myself from gossiping, and I knew I had to get out of that environment right away.
You are right. Negativity is everywhere. Humans have three core emotional needs. They need peace, love, and understanding. Negativity arises when one of the core needs is threatened. The monk way is to dig to the root, diagnose, and clarify a situation so you can explain it simply to yourself. May I suggest some strategies for dealing with negativity?
Yes.
Become an objective observer.
Wow, monks are so aware.
Yes. We approach negativity, or any type of conflict really, by taking a step back to remove ourselves from the emotional charge of the moment. Negativity is a trait, not someone's identity. A person's true nature can be obscured by clouds, but like the sun, it is always there, and clouds can overcome any of us. We must remember this when we deal with anyone exuding negative energy. Just like we wouldn't want anyone to judge us by our worst moments, we must be careful not to judge others. As the Dalai Lama says, if you can, help others. If you cannot, at least do not harm them.
Oh, that's a good one. So by harming, you also mean like not judging them. Okay, got it. So what else, GK?
You may back away slowly. Cleanse yourself of the negative attitudes that cloud your outlook. And you must purge and avoid physical triggers because if you don't let go physically, you won't be able to let go emotionally. And in instances where you can't let go, perhaps a family member or a colleague that you have to work with, reduce the time that you spend with these people and utilize the 25-75 principle. For every negative person, you should have 3 uplifting people. Try to surround yourself with people who are better than you in some way, either happier or more spiritual. And remember that it's not your job to be the savior and solve problems. The desire to save others is ego-driven, and we want to avoid being lured in by our egos.
Okay, so if I'm being really honest, that's great for the negative Nancys in my life. But what if sometimes that person is me? I'm not proud to say this, but sometimes I feel a little envy, anger, jealousy, even like competitive for some weird reason.
That's perfectly normal, Tapas. Letting go doesn't mean wiping away negative thoughts, feelings, and ideas completely. The truth is, these thoughts will always arise. It's what we do with them that makes the difference. Remember that the more we define ourselves in relation to the people around us, the more lost that we are.
So once I'm aware of these negative thoughts, how do I know what to do next?
Spot, stop, and swap.
And roll.
Spot a feeling, stop to understand the root of your negativity and address it, and swap in a new way of processing. This could mean rewording your thoughts to a more specific and meaningful approach, or maybe even journaling your thoughts to help you amend your feelings.
Okay, so spot, stop, swap. I like it. Okay, so use this for negativity, but is that the same for anger too? Because sometimes I feel like, like the Hulk.
Oh no. Anger is a whole different story, Tapas. Anger often is a response when we are deeply wounded. How you deal with anger, though, is forgiveness.
Yeah, forgive and forget, but it's easier said than done, GK.
It doesn't have to be. Sometimes we look at forgiveness as black and white, but there are often multiple levels of forgiveness. These levels give us leeway to where we are, to progress in our own time, and to climb only as far as we can. The level we want to achieve is transformational forgiveness. Here, we find the strength and calmness to forgive without expecting an apology or anything in return. If you can do that, if you can forgive others and especially forgive yourself for things that you've done in the past, then forgiveness can bring peace to our minds and even benefits to our health.
I think I can work with that. Okay, so since we're being really honest, guys, as well, the real reason why I'm here is because I'm kind of scared. I left my job. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know what's next for me. It's this fear I've never had before.
Fear is not a bad thing. We can never fully live without fear and anxiety. It's just like negativity. When we spot it, we can use the fear to our advantage, or we can allow it to make us feel overwhelmed and helpless. But remember that the longer we hold on to fear, the more they ferment until eventually they become toxic.
Okay, I think I'm trying to understand. So I shouldn't hold on to my fear or even avoid them. I should, face it and use it more as a signal to recognize opportunities, right? I think it's not the fear that I'm fearing the wrong things. I'm more scared of fear when I should be more scared of not listening to what my fears are telling me.
You are absolutely right, Tapas. Work with your fear, accept your fear, find patterns in your fear, and know this: the cause of fear is attachment. The cure for fear is detachment.
Detachment, what does that mean?
In the words of Santideva, it is not possible to control all external events, but if I simply control my mind, what need is there to control other things? This is detachment, when you observe your own reactions from a distance, then making decisions with a clear perspective.
So I just not care. Wouldn't that make you indifferent to everything?
So, Tapas, imagine you're driving a luxury car.
Ooh, like a Tesla Model X.
Yes, say you don't own it, but you get to drive it for a whole week.
That would be cool.
In some ways, this allows you to enjoy the car even more because you're grateful for the chance to drive it, especially if it's something you've always wanted to do. Right? You don't spend the whole week dreading returning it, you spend the whole week driving it as much as you can and enjoying it. Detachment is simply knowing that you don't own something. It doesn't mean you have to be indifferent.
Wait, so I can apply this to feelings too, right? Like, I'm anxious about disappointing my parents because I quit pharmacy, but I can also detach from this. I can take responsibility for my life. My parents may or may not be upset. Who knows that, right? But I have no control over that. I can only make decisions that are based on my own values.
Looks like someone is understanding the monk mindset.
Yes.
You just said it yourself. Your parents may not even be upset. You don't know. Fear makes us fiction writers. We think, what will happen if? And then we start spiraling off. We anticipate future outcomes. Fear holds us back, imprisoning us in our imaginations. Seneca says, our fears
are more numerous than our dangers, and we suffer more in our imagination than in reality.
You know Seneca.
Oh yeah, I'm a Stoic. I love Roman Stoic philosophers, GK.
When you find yourself in a fearful situation, remember not to panic and to use your breath to realign your body and your mind.
Oh, like my best friend Cal, she's like a yoga fanatic. She's always making me do all these breath work. I mean, it actually does help. Not gonna lie.
I'm so glad to hear that. Sounds like this Cal's a good person to have around. And remember, also to see the whole story. You can think of fear and challenges being necessary along the way in our lives. When we learn to stop segmenting experiences and periods in our life and instead seeing them as scenes and acts in a larger narrative, we gain perspective that helps us deal with the fear.
Okay, so don't let fear stress me out. When I stop seeing fear as a negative thing, I can use it to motivate myself to identify potential benefits to my own advantage. Also, I have to change my relationship with fear. I have to change the way I look at it, detach from it, and then focus on my values instead.
You are ready to move on to the second motivator on how to build a fulfilling life, Tapas. Let's talk about intention.
Intention.
Tell me, Tapas, what's the one thing you've always wished you could do?
Oh, a film producer.
Do you wish that you could do that, or do you wish that you could learn to do that?
What do you mean?
Think about your motivation. Do you want to be a film producer because it's an impressive achievement, or do you want the experience of learning how to produce? In the first, all you want is the outcome. And in the second, you're curious as to what you might learn from the process.
Whoa, guys, this is a new concept for me. I've always thought about my outcomes and my goals. I never really thought about why I want to do it and if I was willing to do what was necessary along the way. That's why they say it's not about the That's why they say it's about the journey, not the destination. It's the same concept, right?
There are four motivations that drive everything that we do: fear, desire, duty, and love. Fear can be described as being driven by sickness, poverty, fear of hell, or fear of death even. Desire is seeking personal gratification through success, wealth, and pleasure. Duty is motivation by gratitude, responsibility, and the desire to do the right thing. And love. Love is compelled by care for others and the urge to help them. We make choices based on these four motivations alone.
So we talked about fear already. Can we skip to desire?
We may. I do want to mention, though, that fear is not a sustainable way of making decisions. When we operate in fear for a long time, we can't work to the best of our abilities. We're too worried about getting the wrong results. Then we become frantic or paralyzed, and we're unable to evaluate our situations objectively or even to take any risks.
Okay, so fear, not sustainable, don't operate on fear. Got it. Okay, let's talk about desire though.
This is the path to adventures, pleasures, and comforts, often in the form of material goals.
Like a giant fancy house or like financial freedom?
Precisely. Many think that success or money equals happiness, but this is an illusion. Material gratification is external, but happiness is internal. Happiness and fulfillment come only from mastering the mind and connecting with the soul. The external cannot fulfill the internal. In fact, there is a study that shows the impact of overall life satisfaction levels off at a salary of $75,000.
Wow, I've always measured happiness through money. But I guess that's why they say more money, more problems.
This brings us to duty and love, which have so much more to offer. The more we upgrade from trying to fulfill our own selfish needs and doing things out of service and love, the more we can achieve because we're motivated by a purpose or by someone that we care for. When we live intentionally with a clear sense of why what we do matters, life has meaning and brings fulfillment.
So, how do I know which motivation factor is driving me?
You'll need to dig into the deepest level of why behind the want. Pause to think not only about why you want something, but also think about who you are and who you need to be to get it, and whether being that person applies to you.
I've never thought about who I would have to be to attain my goals.
Most people don't say, I wish I could be more organized and put in all the work to do it. We don't vocalize what it would actually take to get what we want. But keep this in mind. When people say, I wish, it's usually code for, I don't want to do anything differently.
Okay, so let me see if I understand this. Okay, guys. Living intentionally means stepping back from my external goals and then letting go of outward definition of success and looking within.
You got it. I recommend developing meditation practice with breathwork as a natural way to support your intentions. As you cleanse yourself of opinions and ideas that don't make sense with who you are and what you want, use breathwork as a reminder to live at your own pace in your own time. Breathwork will help you understand that your way is unique.
Breathwork, copy.
Now, let's talk about discovering Dharma.
Dharma? Is that a Bollywood actor?
It's a Sanskrit term that means something like your calling. It's taking what you're good at and using that to serve others. Dharma equals passion, expertise, and usefulness. Let's look at the quadrants of potential to identify your passions. We should be spending as much time as possible in quadrant 2, doing things that we're both good at and that we love.
Looks like I'm always in quadrant 1, working at things I'm good at, but I don't love.
It's not just you. Most people operate that way. Then they hop on over to quadrant 4 to indulge in hobbies and extracurriculars that they love, but they're not really good at because they don't really make the time or have time to become good at them as they would like. Quadrant 3 is where we don't want to be. It's kind of depressing to hang out there doing things that we don't love and aren't good at.
So once you figure out your passion and you have your dharma, you're good to go, right? So it's kind of like having a purpose.
Well, remember that dharma isn't just passions and skills. Dharma is passion in the service of others. Your passion is for you. Your purpose is for others. So your passion becomes a purpose when you use it to serve others. And your dharma has to fill a need in the world.
So if I can't figure out my dharma, am I just like wasting my life away?
Not at all. Most people take a while to discover their dharma. Look at it this way. The pleasures you feel in doing your passion should equal how much others appreciate it. If others don't think you're effective, then your passion is a hobby, which can still add richness to your life. It's good to have activities that are character building. When you're working on your dharma, that is competence building. When you're working on both your character and your competence, you serve your soul and a higher purpose.
That makes sense, right? So here's a real question. All this sounds good and all, but how do people find the time to do all this? I mean, I can't imagine doing this and trying to focus on my job.
Every day, think as you wake up. Today, I am fortunate to be alive. I have a precious human life. I am not going to waste it. Do you know who said that?
I'm guessing the Dalai Lama?
Dalai Lama. To best start your day and follow through, you need routine so as to not waste your day. First off, try waking up 1 hour earlier than you usually do.
But then I'll have to go to bed early. I mean, I can try.
Perfect. Next, ease into your morning. If you have to use an alarm, use a gentle one. The goal, though, is eventually to teach your body to wake up on its own and not have to use the snooze button. Use low lighting when you first get up, put on quiet music, and don't pick up your phone until the hour is over. Now, you have an hour that is all yours.
Wow, that's like the gift of time.
It is. How will you choose to spend it? Go for a walk, meditate, maybe a gratitude visualization practice. However you spend it, you will set the tone for the rest of the day. And then at night, turn off the TV, turn off the phone, and get into bed at the first sign that you're tired. After all, your morning is defined by the evening.
GK, earlier you talked about intention. Is this a part of it?
Absolutely. The goal of all this preparation is to bring intentionality to the entire day. Routine roots us. Monks understand that routine frees the mind, but the biggest threat to that freedom is monotony. People complain about their poor memories.
Oh yeah, like my best friend Cal. She can't remember a darn thing.
It's actually not a retention problem, but more of an attention problem. That's why it's important to keep a routine so that you can free your mind and your eyes to look for something different every day. By searching for the new, you are reminding your brain to pay attention and rewiring it to recognize that there's something to learn in everything. Are you familiar with the late Kobe Bryant?
Yeah, he's only my idol and like my favorite person of all time. R.I.P. Mamba, miss you.
Bryant believed that routine was critical to his work. A lot of the time, creativity comes from structure. When you have these parameters and structure, then within that, you can be creative. If you don't have structure, you're just aimlessly doing stuff. Rules and routines ease our cognitive burden so that we have bandwidth for creativity. Just as important, you'll also have bandwidth to address the most subtle and powerful distractions of all, the voices inside your head. Tapas, have you ever heard of the monkey mind?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, okay, no, never mind. I don't know, is that kind of like some kind of weird monkey business stuff?
Did you know that humans have roughly 70,000 separate thoughts each day? And it has been shown that our minds are only in present time for about 3 seconds. Other than that, our minds are pulling us down in the monkey mindset. So imagine our mind is like a jungle where we're constantly swinging between one thought to another, struggling and overthinking, procrastinating, and anxiety. The monkey mind switches aimlessly from thought to thought, challenge to challenge without really solving anything. But we can visualize the mind as a separate entity and let this help us work on our relationship with it. Think of it as an interaction of making a friend or negotiating peace with an enemy. We can elevate to the monk mindset by digging down to the root of what we want and create actionable steps for growth. The monk mindset lifts us out of confusion and distraction and helps us find clarity, meaning, and direction.
So it sounds like the monkey mind is a child, and then the monk mind is the adult.
Your monk mindset is catching on. It's simply becoming aware of the different voices inside of us. Differentiating what you're hearing will immediately help you make better decisions.
I guess I don't understand why this happens, GK. Like, why do I have so many different conflicting ideas and voices in my head? Why is my own mind standing in my way?
Well, the complication is we weigh input from different sources. We have five senses telling us what appeals to us in the moment. We have memories recalling what we've experienced in the past. And we have our intellects evaluating the best choice for the long term. So beyond that parent, child, monk, monkey mindset, let's look at another analogy. Imagine a chariot. Our intellect is a charioteer, the driver. The senses are the horses, and the mind are the reins. If untrained, the charioteer will fall asleep on the job. The horses, which are the senses, will have control of the reins, your mind, and lead the body wherever they please. Horses left to their own devices will react to what's around them. They see a tasty looking shrub, they bend and eat it. Know what I mean?
So this is why our senses are activated in the moment by food, money, sex, power, influence. If the horses are in control, the chariot will veer off into the wrong direction for temporary pleasure or instant gratification.
Very monk of you. So, drive the chariot of the mind, master your senses, find self compassion, and remember, nothing owns you. Only by detaching can we truly gain control of our minds. And how do we detach?
I know this. Spot, stop, and swap. So be aware of the attachment, stop to assess the root cause and why, and then swap in a new behavior. Man, I feel like a monk already. I'm pretty badass, huh, GK?
Well, we should probably address that ego of yours before we talk about being a monk.
Ego? I don't have an ego. Do I, guys?
No, not like that you don't. But it is important to draw a distinction between the ego and the false ego inside all of us.
I've never heard of a false ego.
The real ego is our very essence. That's why it's in all of us. It's the consciousness that makes us aware and awake to reality. The false ego, though, is an identity crafted to preserve our sense of being the most significant, the most important, the one who knows everything. The ego is a mask, and at the same time, masking our true natures. It makes us liars, it passes judgment, and it causes isolation. Ultimately, it's an obstacle to our growth.
I think I know where you're going with this, GK. So my first thought was to learn to be humble, to battle my ego, but now I think I have to take a step further and detach from my ego. So whatever I have achieved or earned, whatever I have to recognize that it's not mine to start with.
What belongs to you today belonged to someone yesterday and will be someone else's tomorrow.
Does that mean I got it right? Sweet.
Detaching also inspires gratitude. When we let go of ownership, we realize that all we've done has been from the help of others. Parents, teachers, coaches, bosses, books, knowledge and skills of someone else. And ideally, gratitude inspires us to become teachers and mentors and pass it on in our own way.
Gratitude, the world's most powerful drug.
Are you the guru now? I am impressed. When you start your day with gratitude, you'll be open to opportunities, not obstacles. You'll be drawn to creativity, not complaints.
I used to keep a gratitude journal. It was great. I mean, it kind of helped me mentally and physically. I mean, I felt like healthy overall.
Perhaps you'd like to get back to it. Only 5 minutes a day can make a world of difference in your day, but also in your sleep at night. Everyday gratitude practices are very, very important. You can find gratitude in meditation. In the meals that you eat, you can express gratitude to those in your life, and you can extend your gratitude as acts of kindness to strangers and through acts of service. Gratitude is the mother of all qualities, and as a mother gives birth, gratitude brings forth all other qualities: compassion, resilience, confidence, passion. These are all positive traits that help us find meaning and connect with others. So, it naturally flows that I want to talk to you next about relationships.
Relationships? Oh no, Guru Kal, I'm married. I don't need to do any Tinder swiping.
I'm not talking about that type of relationship. I'm talking about who we try to be with others, who we want to welcome into our lives, and how we can sustain meaningful relationships. Tell me, Tapas, do you ever get upset or feel frustrated because you give out a lot of love, but perhaps you don't get it back in return?
Whoa, I feel seen. Yes, like all the time. I feel taken advantage of sometimes.
There is something called the circle of love.
Oh, like Elton John, Lion King.
Not quite. And that's the circle of life. The circle of love represents that whatever love you give out, it always comes back to you. The problem lies with your expectations. You assume that the love you receive will come from the person that you gave it to, but it doesn't always come from that person. And similarly, there are people who love you who don't get that same love in return.
Oh, crap. Now I see it. So this reminds me of my mom, like when she calls me every single day, I usually don't pick up. She's trying to show me love, but I'm seeking it from some other person.
Monks look at the distribution of love and care as a network of compassion rather than a one-on-one exchange. Monks believe different people serve different purposes, with each role contributing to our growth in its own way.
You know, that makes a lot of sense. What's next, GK?
You have come to the end of your time with me.
But I feel like I have so much to learn.
You have only to practice what you have learned today. I will leave you with one last lesson, and it's the most important lesson of them all. The highest purpose is to live in service. Service is good for the body and the soul. So extend your service of care, serve with intention, and within your dharma. Seek to leave a place cleaner than you found it and people happier than when you found them. Remember that service is a direct path to the meaningful life.
Selflessness heals the self. I feel like I'm thinking so much clearly already now. Thanks, GK.
You could say that you now think like a monk.
Guys, that was a really cool session with Guru Kal. I hope you guys got some good takeaways. Well, I will see you guys next time. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. T-Dap out.